Have you ever had a dream of starting your own farm? I have had that dream ever since I was a little kid. And now, finally today, we're going to take a look at the farm that I chose. So I've decided to make this video series for other new farmers who might be interested in just learning what starting a new farm from scratch from raw land is all about. So a little bit about myself. A couple things everyone wants to know when you first start farming is how'd you get your money, and how do you plan on making money? So this is family land. I realize not everyone is that fortunate. A lot of people, when they hear that your family helped you get some land, they say, well, that must be nice. Well, to answer your question, and just to nip those comments in the bud right now, yes, it is nice. But I realize not everyone has that opportunity, but here I do, and we're just going to go through the process of walking around some farmland for the first time and noting types of things that are there. So let's go for it.
You get a line, I get a pole. We'll go fishing in the crawfish hole. 5-car poker on Saturday night, church on Sunday morning.
You get a line, I get a pole. We'll go
fishing in the crawfish
down
hole.
in the
5-car poker on Saturday night, church on Sunday morning.
You get a line,
I get a pole. We'll go fishing in the crawfish hole. 5-car poker on Saturday night, church on Sunday morning.
Like we have deer behind here. That is what they call a burdock plant. The side of water trapped underground. Those taproots go down up to 200 to 300 feet, and it's a very good sign when you find a burdock. That means there's a decent aquifer somewhere on the land underneath it. Geologically, this is Kansas City limestone formation. That means this land is one of the very finest aquifers that ever existed on God's green earth. Now we're back away from the wind a little bit. Just gorgeous. More Osage orange. The Native Americans used to take this Osage orange tree and make bows out of it. That's what the French word for this tree is, the bodark tree. Now, there was a time, apparently, when one bow made of bodark would have sold for 2 horses to the Native Americans. 2 entire horses is how much this is worth to them. And you can see, it just has these natural curves to it that lend it very well to the creation of bows. It's also, being such a hardwood, it's great for staffs and other building applications. Also, you can fetch a pretty penny if you let them get fatter than that, obviously, from woodworkers. So you're starting to appreciate the qualities of Osage orange today. Here's a more mature bodark. So this bodark is of the size where you got to be careful when you're cutting it, but that trunk is fat enough to cut into blocks and sell to woodworkers. So a lot of these Osage oranges are just kept, not only because they'll scratch me, but they'll scratch my livestock. the hill. We're just walking along this ridge. It's very steep there, so, you know, we got a zombie apocalypse type situation. I think defending this ridge from the zombies would be... More junipers. This land is covered in pecan trees and walnut trees. Kind of like buying a gold mine. Apparently there's a deep spring in the back. We're going to try and develop it. And we're also going to dig a series of wells. So one of my upcoming videos is going to be with a well witcher we're going to hire. He's going to come out, he's going to douse the land, and so you can look forward to a video where he explains, you know, his methods of dousing and just how he's doing it. More of this beautiful view off into the distance. It's good to have one of the only hills in the state of Kansas, let me tell you what. So down here, might be a little hard to see, there's more of this burdock taproot, and you know, it looks like this tree might have come first, but in reality, I bet you what's more likely is this burdock root came first. That burdock root is bringing the water up and transpiring water from its root system, and that's the only reason that this juniper is able probably to survive in this particular spot. So, more cow patties, there's going to be plenty of these. So the neighbor was pasturing his cows in here, and for many years, that was the only use of this property. So secluded and gorgeous out here. I may never leave this place till the day I die. Look at this gorgeous tree. Absolutely gorgeous. It just keeps going. Just keeps going and going. Like we got a maybe a calf bone. Certainly animal, not human. At least I hope it isn't human. We're walking over now to the eastern side of the property. Check out this fallen tree over here. So, this would be a perfect location for a small hive of bees. Wouldn't be surprised if I do find one or two natural hives on this property, considering the climate and just the nature of things here. Big old tree. We got struck by lightning or something. Looks like we got a It is a coyote. And he may have to be evicted. So always watching out for this Osage orange. Look at this. That is a 3-inch thorn. That will fuck you up. Your chipmunk? And now we're getting to the edge. You know, it's actually pretty flat up here, despite how steep the front is. Once you get to the top of the hill, I'd say right here, this is so cleared, I could cultivate this with a rototiller probably, in year 1, and I might. Of course, that being south, now we're getting over the ridge a little bit onto the north side. This is going to be the area in the farm in north where you want to plant your cool season crops, because that's going to be the coldest part of your farm. Now we have this beautiful little back field here that I plan on using for crops like that. I plan on using for pumpkins, my greens, broccoli, things like that. What you want when you're looking for farmland is a mixture of shade and open and full sun. A lot of people, they choose places that are entirely full sun and they think, oh, I'll just plant my own shade. Well, planting your own shade takes a lot of time and effort and money. This land's been basically untouched except for the cows for the last 50, 100 years. Therefore, this type of forest is probably very similar to the ecosystem that Native Americans would have encountered when they first showed up here. Here's the other highway. I own the lane closest to me up to the center, so anybody who hits a deer along that route, the only people who have a right to take that deer are the person who hit it, the Kansas Highway Authority, and myself. So I plan on eating free venison. Here's our back ridge here. A lot of these trees are 50 feet tall. This is what Osage oranges look like when they're very small. The Osage orange is what they call a fossil, a living fossil. Because this giant sloth would eat fruit, especially the poisonous fruit that this tree produces. But today, there are no more giant sloths. They're probably a casualty of Native American hunting when the first humans arrived on the continent. So, as a result, the only way they really reproduce is through the dropping of their fruit, and their fruit rolls to the side and plants itself. So here we have a stand of prickly pear cactus. You can make prickly pear jelly. I see no reason to get rid of this small stand. It looks like it's basically the only stand on the property. In all likelihood, this prickly pear has been here a lot longer than anything else. It's a food source to Native Americans. It's also a water source. You shave off the prickly parts, and you can actually eat flesh. It's edible. So, if the apocalypse hits, I might be surviving off these. That's very interesting. Normally you see them in a desert environment, but as you can see, it's a pretty wet environment. I mean, we got mud right there and here. All right, we're heading down now. To this particularly wet area where I'm pretty sure there exists a small seep spring. So a seep spring, for those of you who don't know or aren't aware of the term, is a spring that it flows only seasonally. Usually after a rain or in the springtime maybe, it'll have a trickle. Just avoiding these Osage orange thorns here. Always a good idea. And you can tell the trees really like it over here. Their roots have access to the water. Gorgeous. Whew. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is why Osage orange is referred to as the settler's hedgerow. There's not a single cow that wants to go through that, or a person. You plant them close enough together, that's basically one of the best fence lines you'll ever get. So here it appears as one of the spring heads. See this rocky area down here? The lay of the land. So whenever you're looking at the lay of the land, you know, observe it and then ask yourself, why is it like that? You know, why is there this dip here? Well, the reason there's a dip here is because water carved it out. So, looks like this little head might come out right there. So there's one. But it's not the only one. And here's more of the creek. It's flowing down. And I'm sure there may be secondary spring head here. Or there. This is clearly where it flows. So a strategically placed dam down there could really make the difference. Really make the difference between a pond and a dry bed. Yeah. So this is the area I want to make into a pond. See this, you know, we got the walls already built. Really all I need to do Really all I need to do is build a dam here across this low point, and I got a small pond already. That shouldn't be too difficult. Pretty sure I just saw a snake. Wasn't able to identify it, but, you know, moved away from it. We do have copperheads and we do have rattlers out here. So it is January, but you still see green. It's just the kind of place southern Kansas is. Got a lot of young trees here that I'm thinking I'm be able to coppice for a wood stand. A lot of people try and heat their houses with wood, but then they don't have enough wood on their property to actually heat their homes. if you're planning on heating your home with wood, also plan on having enough space for a wood stand that you can manage with agroforestry to produce as much wood as you need. One of the bigger trees on the property here looks like a pecan. Oh my God. Look at those pecans hanging off the tree. It's like a lot of them didn't drop this year. I'm sure there's a reason for that. Maybe it didn't get its required number of what they call frost hours. So a lot of fruiting trees, they require X number of frost hours in order to produce fruit. And if they don't get enough frost, they'll produce small fruits, or they'll produce fruits that never fall off. This is what they call the jayhawker pecan nut. It's native to Kansas. I got maybe 35 of these mature pecan trees on the property. Such a blessing, such a food source. These took 30 years to get to this size, maybe 25, 30 years. And they've just been sitting here. This actually endangered variety of pecan has just been sitting here. No one's been harvesting them, no one's been caring. It's just been going to the squirrels. Whenever you're buying property, you can buy a piece of property that has a resource on it that's unrecognized by the owner. And that can often be a great way to go. Pecan wood sells for a very high value. I could pretty damn close to pay off the entire land if we chop down all the black walnuts and pecans here. There's another pecan. Let's crack open this pecan and see if it's underdeveloped. I think it probably is. Oh no, it got eaten by the bugs. Looks like. Maybe we'll find another one. Wow, so cool. So we're getting towards the back end of the property here. Here's what these Osage oranges look like when they're not green anymore. Pretty gross. Now when these rot, they release an allelopathic chemical too. Makes it almost impossible for just about anything to grow but grass. And that's another reason why a lot of these bodark trees are going to have to go. Now here, if you look at some of these thicker branches, this is some of your bow wood. That curve there, you steam bend that, that's your bow wood. That's going to be some good wood. And we have a back south facing ridge here. So from a prepper perspective, you know, you never want to have all your eggs in one basket. So we're going to have our crops in the front, and we're going to have our crops in the back. Now this way, if emergency situation or time of extreme scarcity occurs, we are going to still have food in the back, even if all of our food gets stolen from the front. It's very important to have contingency plan for your contingency plan. I haven't seen very much wildlife, but I have been talking the whole time I've been out here, so probably affects it. That is also my pecan. Even though the city has an easement on it, I get to harvest those pecans whenever I want, because I own them. Not every state has the same laws regarding easements, so if you're not in Kansas, check your state. One of the reasons I chose Kansas is because it's just about one of the friendliest states towards farmers in the whole country. Here we got a little corner in the back. Looks like there's a fence to the neighbor's land from when he used to graze his cows in here. And last time fence was broken, if I recall, but looks like that fence is fixed. Looks like he came out here and dealt with. You know, they say good fences make good neighbors. And that's not just a metaphor. It's a fact. Woods over there are quite a bit thicker than the woods I got here. I'm sure probably about 40 years ago this place got timbered. And then it's just been growing back ever since. Yeah, I haven't seen any trees that look more than about 40 years old. Back here there's almost no wind. It's very still, it's very quiet, except for the sound of the highway. But highways, railroads, these are things a person tends to get used to over time. Walking along the west fence here. Beautiful. Looks like another beautiful pecan here right next to the fence. This one maybe wasn't timbered. That's just about the oldest tree I've seen so far. That could be a 100-year-old tree. You know, it might have been part of the fence line at one time, and that's why it wasn't timbered. So this looks like a good place for a little ATV track. We got almost a full mile of fence line here, so you know, that's a lot of space. Trying to walk it every day. That's why it's good to have ATV. So here's something that I don't want to take out with a chainsaw. I'll probably use it for firewood. But that's not a bow dark. The thing about bow dark wood, burning it is it burns so much hotter than other woods because it's the hardest wood in North America that it'll make a wood burning stove burn red, bright red, like a you know, as if you're burning coal in it. So that's why if you're using bow dark wood, you really want to use small sticks and then use them almost like you would a piece of coal instead of the way you typically think about using wood. There's a power plant over there still. It's Mordor. Now you might notice from this vantage point next to the power plant, it's actually a sizable lake. I chose a farm next to a lake on a hill because I know for a fact that if I dig deep enough, I'm going to hit water. You know, the deep aquifer underneath this land is constantly being recharged by that reservoir. And it was a marsh before they made it into a reservoir. It's just a natural sink in the land. Means that I can say something most Kansas farmers can never say, and that's that my well will never go dry. And I can say that with a pretty high level of confidence. Looks like we got some large rocks here that may try and repurpose, or we just got bedrock right here. Looks like this could be some exposed bedrock. Yeah, definitely. Wow. And look at this. And just look at this. This may very well be a Native American grinding stone. That is very cool. So, I'm not sure what kind of rock this is. Maybe a geologist who sees this can tell me. But I'm definitely going to be carving into it instead of some chisels. Wow, yeah, this is definitely the both the highest point on the property, looks like, just about, and the rockiest. That makes sense. You got this beautiful tree here. What a tree. There's an old saying amongst Tibetan Buddhists, and that is, a crazy man will mistake a stick for a snake. It's just about the best description of craziness I've ever heard. I hope you've enjoyed this walk around the property. Plan on doing a whole bunch of videos coming up. We're going to see, here's just a list of some of the videos that I've been considering, and some of the projects I'm going to be doing out here. I'm going to be building a brick kiln. It's going to be one of our earliest videos. That's because I have a pretty good supply of clay on this property, and so we're going to be trying to produce our own bricks, and then with those bricks build a kiln that we can use to more quickly and efficiently produce more bricks. And that's what we're going to try to use for a lot of the outbuildings on this property. You know, we are in tornado country, and we want any structure we build from a just long-term contingency planning standpoint to not be able to be blown away. In this area, we plan on building a Roman-style bathhouse. Now, the Roman bathhouse is going to have a solarium, it's going to have a frigidarium, and it's going to have a caldarium. The solarium is an area filled with sunlight. The caldarium is a steam room that's heated in the underfloor and walls with a system very similar almost to a primitive rocket stove. And the frigidarium is just going to be a small room with a cold pool in it that you dip in traditionally once you're done with the caldarium. I've been dreaming about this place for my entire life, and I'm finally here. Thing is, I know it's just the beginning. It's the beginning of a lot of work, probably a lot of heartache, a lot of time spent making this into the place that I want it to be. But nothing worth doing is easy. Alright, folks, back here at the front again. Alright, thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe, and see you next time.
On the first part of the journey, I was looking at all the life. There were plants and birds and rocks and things. There was sand and hills and rain. The first thing I met was a fly with a buzz and the sky with no clouds. The heat was hot and the ground was dry, but the air was full of sound. I've been through the desert on a horse with no name. It felt good to be out of the rain. In the desert, you can remember one for